Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be part 2 of my top 5 champions per faction. Hope you caught part 1 yesterday. I will link it at the end of this video in case you didn't. But these are going to be my best champions per faction in Raid. Okay, Skinwalkers. Any rares in here to call out? I tell you what, the rares do compete with the epics here. They do. Do they compete with a top 5? You've got to call out Fleshmonger just because he's got an AoE decreased defense. He's not a top 5, that's for sure. I feel like Nullhorn. Does Nullhorn compete here? I think not quite, but he's damn close. Nullhorn is so good. AoE provoke and unkillable. He's such a good champion for an early game account. But anyway, let's get into top 5. So, Fane in my top 5. When she first came out, before we saw her stats, we saw her kit and we were like, wow, this champion looks amazing. We then saw her defense and we were like, oh, that's disappointing. She's one of the best champions to go into an unkillable team. She also hits hard, hits decent damage. So she's good for Fire Knight. She's good for this faction, for Faction Wars. But mainly, she fits best in an unkillable clan boss team. So she's got a double hitter here. That's okay. She brings decreased attack and poison on her A2 on a pretty healthy cooldown, 3-turn cooldown. 100% chance to land it if you book it. And she's got decreased defense and weaken, which is the main reason she's in these teams. You put decreased defense and weaken on stuff, you hit them for loads more damage. So yeah, really, really solid epic here that they added. Basher has got to go in the mix, top 5. Slept on a lot, this guy. Super cool champion. So again, someone else with block buffs. It's a rare skill. It's a random hitter. I don't love that. But it's a really good ability. But this is why he's so good. A2, AoE, puts the cooldown of all the enemy skills, increases their cooldown by 2. So basically, they're all using their A1 for the next 2 turns. If you can't kill them in those 2 turns, you probably need to go back to the drawing board. It's a really disgusting skill, this. Blocking out the enemy's abilities is probably the most terrifying thing for an enemy. So he comes in as number 2. Now, in terms of number 3, people might dispute this one. I really like Saurus. Mainly because he makes stuff happen that nobody else can make happen in the game. So you pair him with Poison Exploders and you're just one-shot in waves like you wouldn't believe. He throws out these 4 poisons, makes himself unkillable. He's also got a weaken, which is kind of cool. If you don't have a Poison Exploder, don't invest in this guy. But for me, he's a super fun champion, and he's very, very different. So let's get onto the Legendaries then. I've got to call out Longbeard. Another ally attack champion. Brings 4 allies with him. So I don't know if there's that many that attack with all 4 allies. Maybe there's a few that do. But anyway, he's super good. But the cool thing about him is he makes them all hit for 20% more damage than they should do. Take their normal number, times it by 1.2, that's what they're going to hit for. So he becomes the best damage dealer or damage dealing ally attacker because of that skill. Now, some of the other ones bring other utility like increased crit rate, so you can build them for higher damage. So you might argue perhaps it's not as I say, but on flat damage, he gives 20% more than anyone else. He's got good base stats. He's actually good for a lot of content as well. And this A1, it's amazing how often this comes in to effect. Ignoring shields, ignoring block damage. So for this faction, I use him in my faction war team. The last wave on stage 20, they're all throwing out block damage. He just comes in, swipes over the top, smacks people in the face. Shields as well. I think there's a warlord in that faction. He's like, I don't care about your shield. I'm smacking you anyway. And he can kill people through the shield. So, very cool champion here. Now, we've got 2 more to pick. I can't go anywhere without picking Coronar. Super cool looking skin as well. Really, like, so detailed again. He does bring AoE decreased defense and attack. Again, one of the best skills in the game. So, you can't not call out someone that's got this type of ability. He's got provokes. He's got all sorts of counter-attack mechanics in his kits. And he has got a chance to place a really good buff on his team if he gets someone dead, which is he's not the hardest hitter in the game. He's got one of the best health pools in the game. He's quite easy to keep alive. And he drops turn meter. Like, so much going on with this guy. He's insane. Now, my last one I'm going to call out is Norog. I think that's probably because he holds a place in my heart, because I just think he's fun. He hits hard. He hits Ultan hard. He's got an AoE hit with block buffs. Again, with the recent kind of change to the way we're seeing waves of tons of buffs, he actually comes in pretty clutch with this ability. And it hits like a freight train. Like, it's a really strong hitter. Block cooldown steals on his A1. I've already said how good that is as a skill. And he's got this ability here, which, again, people kind of sleep on it, but he's immune to freeze, stun, sleep, which are some of the worst debuffs to get on you in the game. Decreases the damage taken by allies that are under one or more buffs by 15%. Straight reduction of damage. If they got no buffs, 25%. It's one of the strongest passives in the game. So don't sleep on Norog. He's better than you think. He's especially good on Ice Golem. Especially good. So there we go. We're on to the Orcs. Top 5 Orcs. Do we have any rares that are even close? No, we do not. The rares here, pretty trashy. We got tons of good champions, though, in this faction. So the first one I've got to call out, Seer. She's basically a legendary. She's pretty broken. She does damage on her A3 based on the amount of buffs the enemy have got. I've been saying it through this video. We're getting more and more buffs on enemies. So this skill is ridiculous. It cleans out an enemy wave, no problem. You don't even actually need a lot of stats. As long as you've got 100% crit rate, ideally you put her in Savage Gear, but you don't have to. Try and punch up to, like 180 or so crit damage. If you're trying to rip buffs off the enemy, you need accuracy to do it. But if you're just ripping buffs off your team, you don't need accuracy for that. So she's ridiculous. She's such a good epic. Probably the strongest epic in the game for PvE content. Okay, so let's talk about then the rest. So who's the other 4? We could definitely call out Sandlashed, we could call out Zardala, we could call out Duke, and we could call out Ultimate Gaelic. Now, I'm going to pick number 4, or number 2 even, as Ultimate Gaelic, because he brings something which is hard to get. AoE HP burn. And why am I calling that out? Well, Spider is still seen as the hardest dungeon for the average player. And he brings a way to beat it. One of the best ways. So, as long as you get increased attack buff on him before he uses his ability, he can do it himself, but he doesn't do it himself on auto. Roll on, choosing our own AI, by the way. That's going to be big for him. As long as he's got increased attack on himself, he's going to throw out HP burn. And I tell you what, it'll be the best way for you to beat Spider 17, Spider 18, even Spider 19 when he's the wrong faction. For most people, it's going to play some RNG, yeah, so there's be some turn. You might have to do it 3 or 4 times, but he'll still be your best chance to beat 19. And when you get to 20, he'll make it look like a doddle. So he's also got turn meter reduction. He's actually very good for faction war, especially bosses. He's very good for Fire Knight as well. People are overlooking for those places. He hits kind of hard. Good champion. Okay, so we're going to go with my third one, which is going to be Duke the Pierced. Again, you can't really not call out someone that's got AoE decrease attack and defense. I don't like his A3. I think it's actually a complete waste in his kit, and he prioritizes it. I wish you could just turn it off. Maybe we can in the future. He's got a decreased accuracy A1 as well, which is okay, but it's all about his A2, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, and it's a 100% chance to land. He's defense-based, he hits hard, and he's hard to kill. Like, what more do you want? Great champion for Ice Golem. One of the best. Also just generally good. Any content, decreased defense and attack is going to keep you in a good spot. So we're going to go into the legendaries now. 2 legendaries to call out here. It's really hard. Really hard. I kind of need to call out 3, to be honest. Kreela, awesome champion. She lets herself down by having to be booked on her A2, but she hits really hard. She's great in Clan Boss. I really like her. But my top 2 for this faction are actually going to be Iron Brago basically has been able to change the game, change the way people play the game. He was a really good fusible champion. This passive is insane. You get 10% of his defense on every champion in your teams. So if you build him up to 4K defense, you've got an extra 300 to 400 defense on everyone. It's massive. He's got a big old swinging A3 AoE hit with decreased attack and provoke on it. It's huge. Great for clan boss, great for general content. He hits super hard on his A2, and he keeps increased defense up all the time. All the time. He's also got a chance to stun, and he has got a big old swing of an A1, 100k plus hits if you build him in the right way, and a chance to decrease the duration of buffs. Great, great champion. Warlord, though, king of this faction. What a champion. He was actually my first Void Legendary. I'm not sure that I love the skin on this guy, but it's kind of okay. I quite like this little bit poking out the top. Anyway, this is what he's all about. Remember I said it with Basher? Anyone who's got the chance to put enemy skills on cooldown, and Basher does it for two rounds. Warlord puts their skills on cooldown for the full duration. 100% chance to do this. If Warlord goes and uses this skill, the enemy may as well just exit the game because they've lost. What a crazy ability this is. He's also got a good A2. Heals, shields, block debuffs. Very cool. Good base speed, good base everything else. Really, really great champion. So what we got? 6 to go. Demonspawn. Sorry, this is a long one, guys. Demonspawn. Do we have any call out rares here? We can call out Diabolist, actually kind of good. We can call out Fellhound, good campaign farmer, decent champion. Not top 5, so. Top 5 for this faction. Damn, tough call. One of my favourite new epics has got to be in the mix. I love this champion. I think this champion has got one of the most interesting and cool kits in the game. So we've got an AoE ability here. This is the one. AoE ability, 90% chance. Not 100, 90. You put a sniper on him, 95 if it works. Not sure if it works for freeze actually. Anyway, 90% chance to freeze enemies. And it almost always is a freeze, by the way. So it freezes enemies that have got higher attack than defense. There's not many situations in the game for PvE where playing with coded defense to be higher than attack. Even with defense-based champions, you tend to freeze. So AoE freeze ability is so good for Spider. And why is it so good? Because every time freeze runs out, all of your team get 10% more turn meter. Like that. If you have 2 of these guys, you could literally level 1, 2 of these guys, and the Spiderlings would never get a turn on Spider 20. Very, very cool champion. Also brings block debuffs and strengthen. It's got an okay A1 as well. But yeah, super cool epic. That's my first in the list. My second in the list, I think, is going to be Allure. Allure just does something that nobody else can do with her A1. Best turn meter control of a single target in the game. We see her played at endgame for places like Scarab King. Even though she's the wrong affinity, she still works out to be best. Finite, wrong affinity, still works out to be in endgame teams. And the list goes on. She actually brings an AoE decreased defense and sleep. And she's got some ignore defense going on here. You kind of don't worry about those steals because she's all about accuracy, speed, crit rate. You need crit rate for this to land. And she'll do that. She'll keep the Finite's turn meter down all the time. So she's got to be in the mix. The third one for this faction, I think, is going to be Umbral for epics. Umbral, AoE hard-hitting defense-based abilities. Again, we talked about it a bit already. Block buffs. Great ability. She's insane for Faction War. She's insane for Doom Tower. Keeps waves at bay. She then has got a 2-turn provoke and makes herself unkillable. You've got 2 turns to kill them. If you can't do it in that time, go and get yourself a big glass of milk because you are not strong enough. On to the legendaries then. I mean, damn, there's so many good ones here. Countess Lix, insanely good. Tyrant, insanely good. Seer, insanely good. Damn, I mean, maybe you scrap all the epics and just kind of call some of those out. But I'm going to pick out my 2 best legendaries for general content. Duchess is one of them. She's up there as one of the strongest in the game. She's got the AoE revive, 70% HP on that revive. It is with low turn meter, so she does get kind of outshone by some people on the revive. She's got speed in all battles. She's got increased attack, great buff. Block debuffs, great buff. And Perfect Veil as well, which is a huge buff. Perfect Veil reduces the damage you take. She's then got a passive which also reduces the damage you take. So you get like a double damage reduction from her. Bit of shield in her A1. She's just such a unit. She is a unit. She is hard to kill, and she makes your team hard to kill. And the other one I've got to call out is Kaimar. Look how cool this guy looks. Sweet looking skin. One of my faves in the game. Really good job. He's actually one of the early legendaries, but they've done a great job on this guy's skin. Brings a reset the cooldowns of all of your skills and a turn meter fill on his A3. It's really what he's all about. The rest of his kit is good, but this is insanely good. He's great in the arena, great for dungeon running, speed farming. He's great really anywhere in the game, maybe with the exception of Clan Boss. He's got speed in the arena, top tier speed there. Get some poison out of him as well. Gets a sleep and a cleanse from his A2. This ability on its own is actually really good. But pair it with this one, insane. Great base stats. Kaimar is going to go in their top 5. I am sorry, Kandrafon. I am sorry, Countess Lix. I'm sorry, Trexar. I'm sorry, Tyrant. You know, there's so this faction is riddled with great champions. Let's move on to the Undead then. Undead. Is there anyone we can call out for top 5? I think there is. Now, and I say that knowing that the Undead have got an insane number of champions, but Frozen Banshee, she's one of the most played rares in the game. Rightly so. She kicks out some of the highest poison damage for Clan Boss in the game. The same build you use for her in Clan Boss you can use in Dragon, and she's going to help you kill the dragon. So, Frozen Banshee, top 5 champion in the game for Undead. Now, on to the epics. Damn, this is tough because we've got Bodoff, we've got Seeker, we've got Gorgorab, we've got, what's her name, Dark Elhain. So yeah, lots of good champions here. I think I'm going to call out Bodoff. Interestingly, I get a load of analytics from the website. Bodoff is one of the highest searched champions in the game. Would you believe it? So he brings an AoE provoke, 75% chance, and AoE decrease attack. Great skill, great to get through wave content, and keep enemies away from your damage dealers. So I love this. He's got a free hitter on his A1, makes him good for Fire Knight, makes him good for Clan Boss. Each hit, chance to increase the duration of one random debuff. Pretty good for Clan Boss. He's HP base, which means that you can keep him alive pretty easy. Here's where it gets kind of interesting though. So his passive, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage he takes. So if you keep his defense kind of low but his health really high, then he's going to take a big hit and he's going to heal the rest of the team for a lot of health. Only heals by 25% of the damage received from boss attacks, still a lot. And he brings a leech passive. Not attack, passive. When attacked, places a leech on the attacker for 2 turns. 100% if you book it. If the attacker's under provoke, also has a 100% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill by 2 turns. It's insane. This passive is insane. Great base stats. Accuracy, aura as well. Awesome epic. So that's 2. Let's go on to, I'm going to have to call out, so Seeker, yeah, we could easily pick. Husk is good, but I've got to pick out 3 legendaries here because there's so many super strong ones. I mean, where do you even start with this faction? Sato, Rotus, not Elegas, Bad El, Nephril, but 3 I'm going to pick out. Mashold, first one. Changes the game. Game changer. He has got a 2-turn cooldown on an increased speed ability. Basically means you keep increased speed up the whole time. He has got an AoE ability on an A1, which classifies as a normal hitting ability because it hits and then hits anyone with leech for a bunch of A1s. It's actually important because a lot of the AoE damage dealers get a damage reduction on their AoE hit. This guy just hits as if he's A1 in everyone. And then we've got a smack of an A3, which can also steal a bunch of buffs from enemies. Really cool. He's especially good in certain clan boss teams. Great in the arena, great for wave control, super hard hitter. We've got Sifi. Still one of the most busted champions in the game, mainly because of this irresistible A1. If I want someone to take a nap, I press mouse, click 1, and they're sleeping. That's all I got to do. I don't need accuracy for it. I don't care what their resistance is. As long as they don't have block debuffs on, I click them, they go to sleep. They take a nap. It's kind of mental. 3 of the best buffs, all going out with a turn meter fill on an A2. It's great. Full turn meter revive. Can you believe it? Crazy champion. Anyway, she's definitely one of the ones that people want the most because she's so good. She heals as well. Very cool. Resistance and all that type of stuff. One of the highest base speeds in the game. High base defense. She's hard to kill. Great champion. And the other one we got to call out, Necret. Ah, man. This guy. So much going on in his kits. Ally attack ability. Block debuffs. Ally protection. Strengthen. 3 of the strongest buffs in the game. All going out on someone for 3 turns. A passive that does the same thing. And you choose who this is going to land on. Crazy. Yeah, this guy is absolutely like top draw. Really fun champion. We see him now in a lot of arena defense at plat level reset because he's just so strong. He's hard. He makes people hard to kill. It brings a decreased attack as well. That's kind of okay. But the rest of his kit is what he's all about. So Necret comes in as my top 5 for undeads. Let's move on. 4 more to go. Dark Elves. I mean, Dark Elves. Again, a big old faction. Now, choosing 5 here. Again, it's tough because there's a couple of rares that need to be called out. I'm going to honorary mention Painkeeper just because of her role in unkillable teams. If you've got a Man-Eater and a Painkeeper together, you've got an unkillable team. Good luck. You've just beat Clan Boss. Well done. That's all you need. You beat Clan Boss. Done. We've got to call out Paragon for his cheese abilities. He's a funny champion. He keeps unkillable on people and basically helps you cheese your way through Nightmare Campaign. Cheese your way through things like Spider 19, which are really hard to do. So he's got to be called out. But here we go. First one on the list. Cold Heart. We knew it was coming. You only need 70% crit rate to do an absolute nuke on an A3. 70% crit rate, get as much crit damage as you can, and people will be dead. Builder with high health, not high attack. High health, 70% crit rate, high crit damage, and as much accuracy as you can muster. If you're doing level 20 stuff, you want 200 accuracy. Very solid champion. We see her in end game, as in like the best possible finite teams. 2 of her. We see her in end game Doom Tower dungeons. We see her in end game spider comps. Like, she's ridiculous. 4-hit A1 heal reduction. It's one of the best A1s for finites in the game. AoE ability that hits pretty hard, can do poison and decreased accuracy as well. She's a bit squishy. That's her weakness. That's it. That's it. If she takes a hit, she's probably taking a dive. But she, as long as you build a high HP, she's going to do you good. So she's in there as a top 5. Of the epics, we've got an easy one that's in the top 5. And then we've got probably a contentious one. So there's a few I could call out. Caden, super good. Spider, very good. Probably went up in estimation since Doom Tower was out there. No one probably has got Rian yet. I don't think it's possible yet, but she is going to be up there as one of the stronger epics in the game once people start to get the components that make her good. I can't really call her out yet, but Sylar, my top 5. What did I say earlier? Turn meter control is king, and she's one of the best champions in the game for it. She's got AoE, decreased speed, massive turn meter reduction, 40% turn meter reduction, and decreased speed. So she's throwing that turn meter right back, and then she's saying, oh, by the way, now you're moving slow. Good luck, fellas. Good luck. Everything else she does is AoE. Decreased accuracy is kind of good as well. Speed in Faction Wars is okay. Good base speed. She's really all about this. Get enough accuracy for it to work. If you can put her in something like a fast reflex set to get this back quicker, great. If you can put refresh artifacts on her, I would do that. Or you can put her in stun set, daze set, because the other AoE abilities are going to lock people out. Very good champion. Madame's got to be in there. You all know it. She's ridiculous. Look at her. She doesn't even care. She's like, I don't even care how ridiculous I am. AoE, decrease attack, decrease defense. We've called out other champions with this skill, and we've said, you've got to call out champions with this skill. It's so good. She doesn't just do that. She also cleanses off all of the buffs on the enemy team at the same time. Ridiculous. Another AoE ability here. True Fear, block debuffs, like loads of good skills. Fear on her A1. Passively can kind of put a shield on herself when she gets a turn. Great base stats. Insane champion. So, who are my 2 legendaries then that I'm going to call out for the final? Now, Lydia, yeah, she's top tier, but she's very difficult to get. Is she a top 5? Yes, she is. But let's rule her out because she's so hard to get. Visix is rubbish. Anyway, so who's going to be my 2? Honorary mention for Ghostborn, very good champion. Honorary mention for Xavier. She can blow stuff up super fast. But top 2, Vizier. Vizier for me is an absolute game changer if you get him in the clan boss. For your clan boss team. He makes things happen nobody else can make happen in the game. A1 increases duration of all debuffs by a turn. Super good skill. Basically, as you load some poisons in, load your decreased defense and weaken up. Make sure you're A1 a few times. Soon we'll be able to set his AI so that's all he does. Oh my god, at that point he's going to be the best. He's already good anyway. He can put decreased attack out there. He can spread debuffs. He puts a veil on himself. He's just such a good champion. But the other one that I'm going to call out, again, it's hard because I wondered if I should say Xavier, but I'm going to say Ray. Ray, all AoE abilities, they hit really hard. She's one of the hardest hitting champions in the game. She, like Madame, can remove all buffs, and then she, instead of putting decreased defense and weaken out there, slam dunks people and freezes them. It's like 3 moves in one, crazy. A2 as well, hits super hard if there's debuffs on the enemy. So if someone else drops defense, she comes in and slams with the A2. She should kill everyone. And then A1 has got a chance to put decreased defense on as well. Gives you speed in dungeons, 33%. It's a lot. Good base stats. Ray comes in as my number 5. Knight Revs then. Any rares in here? Honorary mention, maybe Coffin Smasher, like early game. So, on to the epics. Now, Knight Revs needed some love because it was quite a slim faction and it was struggling for epics, and it's had that love given to it. So, we've got to call out Miscreated Monster number 1. Wicked skin, look at this. Super cool skin. Good job on it. It's all about his A2. AoE stun. Places a massive shield on your team. Even on someone like Starabos, because you can book him down to 3 turns, 3-turn cooldown, he can keep shield up 100% of the time. It's a tiny old shield against Starabos. Doesn't matter. It's all you need to stop the Starabos counter-attacking you. So if he's your shield champion, fine. It works. Build his HP up. Get some crit rate on him. Get your speed up. Get your accuracy up so he lands stuns. And away you go. Watch everyone shiver and cower as he comes at you. Super cool champion. He actually has also got ally protection. He's got heals. He's got a chance to drop defense, although it's a bit of a shaky one. And he's got some fear mechanics going on as well. Cool champion. My number 2 here is going to be Doom Priest. Risen in the ranks since Doom Tower has come out. Risen in the ranks because she becomes a super utility to remove debuffs. Forget her A1, forget her A2, forget her Aurora. All we care about is her passive. That's all I care about. And what that means is make her move fast, make her get as many turns as possible because her passive heals you and it cleanses a debuff every time. If you're up against Affinity clan boss, she's the best champion in the game to remove the stun, remove the decreased speed. Just make sure she goes first in your turn order every time. Very, very good champion. She becomes part of unkillable teams, mainly with someone like Tower involved. But yeah, super good. So next one, I just did a video on her yesterday. Skull Crown. Super crazy nukes on her A1 and A2. Great passive. Hard hitter. Good arena champion. Good dungeon champion. And then this is hard because honorary mention Sanacia, also very cool champ. My fourth one's actually going to be another epic here. Sepulchre Sentinel. It's a shame she couldn't get a leotard that quite fits, but it's close, so it will do. Yeah, super good detail on the shield. Love this. Bit of a weird looking skin for me, but a super cool shield. Anyway, increased defense, block debuffs on her A2. It's great. It means that you can use her as your way to stop the clan boss stuns. And some people can speed tune her as well to stop things like the decreased speed and the stuns. Very, very good. Means that you can basically can use her in clan boss as your decreased attack champion. One of the best in the game for this. And to block stuns and stuff. She's got a really interesting passive. One of your team, there's a 50% chance that they just won't take any damage. And you control who that is in terms of positioning on the grid. So I think it's the spot 2 in the grid is the person that won't take any damage. Comment below if I got that wrong. I might have got that wrong. But yeah, great, great champion. So it only leaves me one more. So we've done an honorary mention. Tomb Lord, so I actually really like him. Solus, I kind of like him. But we've got to call out Hedgie. Unique champion in the game. Will always go first unless there's another Hedgie out there. And when he goes first, he wreaks havoc. Block, cooldown skills. We've talked about it already. It's an insane skill. So he puts that on someone. They can't do their main skills. He's an out-and-out arena champion, but he's one of the best in the game. Okay, Dwarves. Dwarves, do we have any rares to be fussed about? Not really. Not really. There's a couple of okay rares here. This boy, Dildal, pretty good. Kurzad, was meant to be the big arena changer, the game changer. I didn't think he would be, but he hasn't been. Bulwark is good. Certainly good for clan boss. And there's a couple of others which are half decent. So they're not bad, but they're certainly not top 5 material. Now, it's been hard to choose a top 5 until recently. Recently, they've added a bunch of new champions to the Dwarves and really, really good ones. So my top picks. First one up, Melda, Still Girdle. I don't have her. She's really, really solid. She's got this revive ability as well with some HP, some turn meter and shieldage. She's got shield. She's just an out-and-out support champion that's going to help your team stay alive. Really solid supporter. I really like Ragnar. Brings you a decreased defense and weaken. Brings you some damage and a leech. Do need to be careful. He can kill himself. You just got to watch out for that. They have added some new dwarves which are pretty good. And Runekeeper's one of the best. So removes all debuffs from all allies. Heals them and puts some healing buffs on. Places increased attack and turn meter feel. Bit like what Seeker does. Really good. Good base speed. Good base stats. In there as a top 5 as well. Which leaves us a couple of spots. Now, honorary mention Morley. This feels bad, but honorary mention Mountain King. Because he just hits like an absolute truck and he's hard to kill. But you can't not put Trunda in the top 5. She's busted. She hits so bloody hard. She hits 40% harder than the next best AoE champion, guys. Can we get that out there? 40%. She's ridiculous. And she's not just an arena champion. Some people say to me, yeah, but she's just arena. No. Build her in a different way, and she's a great spider killer. If you're struggling with Spider 20, Spider 19, a bit like what I said with Ultimate Gaelic, throw her in the team. You'll get through it. No problem at all. Yeah, she's crazy. And then we've got Tormund the Cold. One of the most annoying champions in the game. Certainly for the arena. He's a game changer. His passive is what's it all about. Freezes people, stops them moving as soon as you start buffing your team. He forces you to play differently. He forces you to bring block debuffs. He forces you to bring immunity set, or he's going to mess you up. He's also a hard hitter. So he's got a hard hit in A2. He's got a hard hit in A3 if you're building with some damage. Very fun champ. So lastly then, let's go on to Shadowkin. Brand new faction. The rares are all pretty much trash, I'd say. In terms of top 5 here, the Frog. The Frog, one of the best in the faction. He's got AoE Provoke. He's got Buffage, Shields, Reflect, which is okay. He's got a really good passive here. 50% chance when he takes a hit to poison the enemy. So this is great for Dragon. It's great for Clan Boss. And then he's got a decreased attack for his A1 as well. Good champion. Now, we've got, not Sashi, sorry. Shinoru is a hard-hitting champion. 3 hits at random here does you weaken. This is a hard hit in A3. It removes increased defense, then hits. So pretty much removes the buff that is likely to keep people alive. Then she hits. She should kill a lot of people with this ability. She's got pretty decent base stats. So she's all about her A3. She's not super good compared to a lot of the other epics we talked about. She's not in the same league. She's decent. But for this faction, she's top 5. Aboru does hit hard. Great skin, this one as well. Love this skin. Bit sneaky. I want to see what she actually looks like. Oh, is she pretty or not? I don't know. What we got? Decreased defense. We've got a 2-hitting ability here. Chance to transfer all debuffs from this target to the enemy. Chance to steal buffs from the target when attacking under Veil or Perfect Veil. She puts increased crit damage on herself, and she hits hard. She has got fairly low defense, but good base damage stats. So she comes in there as my 3rd. And then in terms of the legendaries, to be fair, they're all decent legendaries. None of them stand out as like top tier in the game. Jintoru's got the hardest hitting single target damage dealing ability in the game if he procs his 5-hitter. So I did a video on him the other day. I think he's the best of the faction. Decreased defense and weaken on his A3. He's good in the arena with this kind of reset A1 ability. Great base stats. Jinturo's in there. And Genjin is a lot of fun as well, to be fair. Played around with him on the test server. He ignores some of the more annoying debuffs for the arena. He's got a ton of turn meter fill everywhere in his kit. Brings AoE decreased defense. He will be great for this faction for a long time, mainly because of his A2 skill. So there you go, guys. Wow. It's a long one. Hope you're still with me. If you are, thanks very much. Guys, good luck and max out these champions if you get them. I've been Hell Hades. I'm going off to take a shower. I'll see you later.